Welcome back, boys and girls. And today I'm going to talk about almost perfect cell phone to scope adapter that I came across. Originally, I was looking for my spotting scope adapter so I could actually show my viewers the impact as I was shooting my rifles. So I bought an adapter for a telescope and I thought it will work perfectly. But the problem is trying to line up your camera lens from your cell phone through the spotting scope and holding it steady at 100 yards, zoomed in, was next to impossible. So I gave up and left it on my desk. And if you're like me, I hate wasting money. So I was thinking different ways how I could use this mount. And looking at it for about 2 weeks, all of a sudden it dawned on me. Maybe I could mount this on my scope. Then it would be perfect. Now the only problem is this diameter here is only about 45 millimeter. So there was a limitation. In general, this will fit the scope that's up to power 9, but not beyond that. So I tried on my power 9 scope and it worked out perfectly. So I took it to the range and shot it, and oh my god, it was perfect. Now this mount was so sturdy and steady, I was able to zoom in 2.5 times or even up to 3 times. Now the best part is how easy and fast it is to mount the cell phone. Just put it in there, tighten it down, slide your cell phone in here, tighten this down. And believe it or not, if you have this on the same height, on the same level, it's already pointing right where my rifle is pointing. You might have to tilt it just a little bit to the right and you'll be good. It is now 7:02 and I'm ready to hunt. This also works great with my crossbow. But this also came with some of the problems. The first problem was that this handle here, they have 1, 2, 3, and they're very small and tiny. So it's really hard to tighten them down really tight, especially when the day's cold and you have your gloves on. So I came up with an idea. Now this is a cap from maple syrup, and that fits there perfectly. So put that in there and just tighten it down. Same thing here, tighten that down, and it's fine. Or you could get a cap from a vitamin jar and put a hole here. Same thing again. Put it in there, turn, and turn. Voila, no problem. Now the second problem was this rubber holder right here. There was one on the top and one on the bottom. And I didn't know, but they were not fixed. They would actually slip off. So as I'm tightening down my cell phone, I noticed that more I tighten, my cell phone was sliding downward and the rubber holder at the bottom just slipped off and I lost it somewhere. I found my cell phone, but I lost the rubber piece. So I came home and started thinking about ways to put a lip here. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but that's actually a sticker for the Easy Pass sensor for the window. And I know they have a really good 3M adhesive here. So I put a crazy glue at the bottom and then I glue that. But what I did was I left a gap here so I could slide my cell phone in perfectly, just like that. So it's holding really nicely. I never had a problem since then. Now on the top piece, what I did is I put a glue inside so that this won't slip off. But again, you don't want to crank this down too hard and not too weak either. So you just want to make it nice and snug. And you could move the cell phone and make sure it's not loose. As long as it's pretty snug, it should be fine. Now the third problem is that this diameter is not really big enough. So scope that has power, this one has power 12. This will not fit the front. And you can't fit it in the back because you can't work the bolt action. So my solution to that is go back to game stick. And this works fine. So between these two mounts, I'm able to use all my rifles. As you can imagine, the biggest challenge is finding a deer on your camera. But now with this mount, I don't have to be concerned about that. If I see a deer come out, only thing that I am focused on is turning on the cell phone, swipe it, and then just click on recording, and then just go straight for the deer. Now I know exactly where my camera is pointing now, so I don't even bother looking at my camera anymore. I just go right for the deer. Unlike the game stick, where they have a thin neck and a ball joint, which is not very sturdy, this mount here holds the whole front scope. So it's very solid, and like I say, it's got no play on it. So the recoil does not move the cell phone at all. So before I climb the tree, I just make sure this is at the right angle, which is same height with the scope, and tighten this down nice and tight so it won't move. And when you get up in the tree, all you have to do is mount this in, tighten that up, slide in the scope, and then tighten everything up, and you're good. So these are the two mounts that I'm using. And if you have a better idea or better mounts, please let me know so I could bring you better videos. Next, I want to talk about GoPro. And lastly, like always, thank God for what you have. Enjoy life with what you got, but mostly, let's share some ideas. Two heads are better than one. See ya.